are looking pretty bleak for members of the Democratic Party. More than 1 of 3 Democrats have a pretty negative perspective on their own party in 2025. These are some of the characterizations that left-leaning voters use to describe their party: weak, broken, ineffective, dishonest, corrupt, out of touch, pretty harsh. And take it from CNN's Harry Enten, who could not help but praise President Trump.
I can't think of a more influential president during this century, and it starts here with tariffs. He said he was going to raise tariffs, and despite the claims otherwise, he is in fact doing that. Trump, at least in my mind, is the most influential president, certainly this century, and probably dating a good back chunk into the 20th century as well. Executive orders, immigration with net migration, and we're talking about tariffs and the effective tariff rate. Donald Trump is remaking the United States. Love it, like it, or lump it. He has been tremendously influential to a historic degree.
And he did not stop there, saying that the Democratic brand is in the gutter.
At this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all 3. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different.
What's happened here, and Democrat leadership doesn't seem to understand it, because they pulled so far to the left for all the reasons that you all are talking about, because Trump is ringing the bell on immigration and China and cultural issues that really affect people. Trump is now the centrist.
That's right.
He occupies the whole center, a little bit of left of center, more right of center.
And
but he's where, for example, 30 years ago, he's where Bill Clinton was, okay? When and Democrats are too stupid right now to go in and do what Bill Clinton did. So Trump has just occupied that, and they can't get it. They can't get there. They're too stupid. No, they're too dumb to do it.
Regain that middle ground, but there will be more.
It's a wonderful place to be. The entire center is Donald Trump.
So if it's not Kamala Harris, who is it? These are some of the young progressives in the party on who should lead Democrats.
I really like AOC. Unfortunately, I would like to see her stand and be more vocal about Palestine. But other than that, I really think that she should be the leader of the Democratic Party, as she is a Democratic socialist. Being also a young person, a young voter, a college student, seeing people like Zohran Mamdani, AOC just gaining so much more footing and so much more recognition in the policy field is very empowering.
I think candidates like Zohran Mamdani and AOC are really inspiring to see. They, someone like Mamdani, a Muslim like me, and Zainab here, it's so inspiring to see. And so I think that someone like that in 2028 can carry a lot of momentum. I think people are so excited.
So it goes back, Lawrence, to our point earlier about nothing's changed, no lessons learned. Right. It's resist Donald Trump, and move as far left as possible in the Democrat Party. AOC and others seem to be still getting the attention.
Yeah, and that's where all of the energy is for them. You look backwards and you see Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and they're both losers. And then you look forward and you have AOC and Mamdani and others who are part of the truly radical, crazy left-wing fringe of the party that, say what you want to about somebody like Nancy Pelosi. She was very effective at keeping the fringe part of her party under wraps. As she kind of rides off the sunset, Chuck Schumer is left. He doesn't know what to do. He has no ability to keep this fringe under wraps. And that's where all the energy is. That's where all the excitement is. The problem is when you get outside of the party, there isn't a broad, widespread general election support for this crazy nonsense. Full-blown communism here in New York City.
Well, you're right, Charlie. I think what this new generation of socialists, Marxists, what they do very well is they diagnose the problem very well. When they talk about affordability and they say, you should, the quality of health care, even what's happening in Gaza, they say the children should not be dying. Of course, they don't say Hamas is responsible for a lot of the deaths there. Many of their solutions are so jacked up, but they do a great job in telling the American people, I understand your pain. Kind of, in effect, like Donald Trump, addressing the working class, people that feel forgotten in America. His solution is different. Bill Maher has a warning for the Democrats. Okay, yeah, these young people are crafty. They are inspirational. But if you run these people The GOP will win the next election. Watch.
Do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, like, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party
I think
nationally.
the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrats, socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get.
You know, if you're engaging with a psycho who all they care about is controlling you, they're very good at diagnosing problems. Yeah. They're very good at figuring out what your weak points are. And that's, I would argue, what a lot of these people are doing.
That's right.
They recognize that if you can focus on these problems, then you can, use that dissatisfaction to gain power for yourself.
Right. When I see his face, I think immediately of his pitch for government-run, grocery stores.
That'll work out.
And I don't think there's any reasonable American who hears that and thinks that that's something that will work for them and their family.
But he's winning. And all of the polls right now, if you take Sliwa out of the polling, he still wins. If you take Adams out of the polling, he still wins. If you take Cuomo out of the polling, he still wins in New York City. This is supposed to be the financial capital of the world, and people are willing to elect a socialist. And, I don't want him to win. I hope people wake up. But I think this will be the next mayor of New York. And the question is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah. It'll be terrible for New York City, but Republicans will be able to run on this issue for as long as that guy's around.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a huge boon for Republicans and conservatives around the country, and New York City is going to pay their...
I will say this finally, when it comes to Bill Maher, it is so refreshing to see, once you remove the TDS, the Trump derangements, how you're able to look at the landscape and think logically. Bill Maher is still liberal. He's still a Democrat at heart. But he looks at the deck much differently now that he's met the president. He sees what's happening in the country. The liberals can recover. They can find some type of candidate, but they got to stop focusing on Donald Trump. Yeah. You can't look at every single issue and look at the president. You got to have your own policy prescriptions. And so now he's warning them, guys, if you do this, you may get a temporary sugar high because this is this crazy leftist, but you can't run a candidate like that nationally. People don't like you taking their money.
Yeah.
This is still America.
If Bill Maher can see it, it must be obvious.
Yep.
Keep under wraps. The company kept the new product under wraps until the official launch. Bleak. The future looks bleak for the struggling company. Ride off into the sunset. After decades of service, the CEO finally rode off into the sunset. Jacked up. The whole system is jacked up and needs to be fixed. Crafty. She is a crafty negotiator who always gets the best deal. Boon. The new highway is a boon to local businesses.
If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to my channel to stay up to date with future videos. Thank you for watching.